Good morning.
Good morning, everybody.
Welcome to Oasis Sacred Spaces. You are with your divine oracles. Hope you're all having a great November day. We are recording this in November 2022.
Yes, and we're very excited for November 2022. This seems like a whole lot of changes have been going on for us, a lot of directional things and switching us up from, actually elevating us from a place that we were. We're now moving into a different phase of...
where we actually want to be.
Yes,
So,
which was our whole goal in the beginning. But now we are actually able to start moving in that direction. Our
that's right.
moon movement.
Integrating change,
That's
upgrade. All right, but we've got our sage going. We've already saged ourselves and our space. I'm going to go ahead and cleanse you all as you enter, which I'm sure you've all got a seat now. All right.
That's beautiful. Hell,
So
yeah.
today we want to speak to you guys on moon work and working with the moon and utilizing those energies. What does it mean? Why do you want to do this? And the purpose behind all the, what do you want to say?
All the different things that people talk about when
Yes,
you're involved in the moon.
what is that called?
Yes, a lot of people call it lunacy and stuff like this, and they call it, it's a place of magic and
Manifestation.
And manifestation. There's just a lot of stuff that goes with it. We just came through Halloween.
Oh, yes,
So,
exactly.
It's really an understanding of what the energies of the moon bring to us physically as well as emotionally and on a spiritual plane.
Day-to-day,
Yeah.
exactly. All aspects of working with the moon. And what does the moon symbolize? Everything in the physical world has a symbolic meaning in the spiritual realm, right? So when we're working with the moon, and we consider the moon for everyone, it is a feminine aspect, right?
Yes.
Because we see the sun as action and the divine masculine energy. It's the daylight. It's the mind. It's all these aspects of the divine masculine. And there's not a lot of conversation unless you're spiritual about moon work and what the moon symbolizes and why we want to utilize the moon, why it's so important. And it's not just this, a lot of people throw the witch to it,
Yeah.
Anybody who wants to work with the moon, which is
Or the devil, even worse,
it's a dark energy.
Yes.
And it is in the dark, but there is light in the dark. If we didn't have the dark, we wouldn't be able to see the light. You need both of them. But just because it's dark don't mean it's evil.
No, and just because you
All
can't see
evil.
something doesn't mean that it's a negative thing, right? It just means that there's an opportunity to see something new, to see something from a different perspective, and to challenge it, right? To create from that space. There's so many different aspects of working with the moon, and we do talk about, masculine and feminine, and it's a feminine energy, because really the moon cycles, women cycle with the moon. It's
Yes.
something that I bet you haven't noticed. I bet you haven't paid attention to, and many of you have, I'm sure, because you're listening to our podcast. So you've been around for us.
And you
for a
have
while, yes.
a lot of you have crystals and everything, and
Yeah.
we tell you when to set them out, to clear them, energize them, etc. So yes,
Exactly.
every 28 days, a woman goes through her menstrual cycle.
And the moon makes its little...
Its phases are 28 days.
Yes.
It has a 28-day cycle as well when it works on the tides, and it's the thing that controls our tides,
Sure
which
is.
is wild. I saw a video that would show the moon as it was circulating the planet, and it would show there's two major
yes. Tide things.
tides that go around the planet, and as you were watching the moon circle around, you would see the wave just follow the
Following
move.
around,
It was
yes.
beautiful. So that's why there's such a connection to our emotions, and it's not just female emotions, it's everyone's
Yes.
emotions. We all, what is that, every full moon? And some people are like, oh my God, it must be a full moon. People are acting crazy.
Yes, they call them lunatics, right? And the loony bin, all that comes from the people who have some
Ooh,
reactions and stuff like that
Yes.
to the moon because they're very sensitive to that energy.
My emotions are at their peak right now.
Good, bad, and indifferent.
Yeah, but there's nothing to be afraid of in the dark, and there's many aspects to our divine feminine nature and the benefits of the darkness, right? We sleep, we rest in the dark. We find that nurturing, comforting dream time. It's where the stillness, the silence, it's also the letting go or release. It's the mother, it's the womb, gestation, everything that is within the dark that you can't see, but it's there. It also represents the energies of within, below, and behind, receive, and past. So let that sink in for a little bit. That's a lot of energies, and it very much is the opposite of, the sun.
The sun, which is right in front of you. Mm-hmm. It's very physical, right?
Very seen.
Very active, not resting.
It is the forward energy. It's the upward energy. It's the future. So when you're working with the sun, it is very mind. It is, what you can see in front of you. It's illuminated.
It is the action time usually. It's when people get up and go to work, and that's the thing, is up with the dawn, and follow that sun's activity when the sun goes down, and now it's the moon time, it's the dark, it's the rest, it's the fall, it's the winter, right? And the sun time is during the spring and the summer. So understanding that, the two different times of year and like Brandy and I were talking earlier, it represents, like black and white. It's opposite extremes.
Exactly. Very good, Mom. So, a way that you can use the moon to help you on your spiritual journey and in your path is to work with the different phases of the cycle. And when you start thinking about plants, that was a great one that we were the physical world has so many symbolisms in our day-to-day life. If you just pay attention to the animals, the energies, all elements of it, the plants, the trees, all those things. And when thinking about starting a garden at the beginning of the year, or anytime you're planting a new seed, right?
Yeah, that's your creation. You are actually getting ready to embark on some new creative process. That is the planting a seed.
Planting a seed. So see it in all aspects of that. Physically, you're going to plant a seed, and spiritually, you want to start and create some new habit, a new visualization, a new manifestation. You're going to work on healing some aspect of yourself in any way that you can utilize something new, a new journey in some way.
Yes.
And so we plant those seeds. We plant them in the dark, right? When you're planting a seed, you're sowing those seeds. They go into the soil. They're buried. And it needs to be dark, and it's cold, actually. Sometimes it's warm soil. Sometimes it's cool soil. It just depends on the time of year. And so that seed goes into the soil, and now what needs to happen, right? We need to
water it.
We water that
seed.
It
doesn't even need soil as much as it needs the dark and water.
And moisture, yes.
Which is?
Our emotions. Right. It's our nurturing energies, right? Because if you're planting a seed, you need to nurture that seed till it grows and reaches its full potential, right? You can't just put a seed in the ground and leave it. Yeah. It actually requires think of your children. If you gave birth to this child, you went, here you go. That's right. I brought you in.
You're born. Good job. But there's food that's required. There's rest. Baby, think about how much sleep babies do, right? Mm-hmm. They're growing.
Yeah, there's only so much strength that it has to continue pushing forward. It's still being formed, right? So it is still...
And the brain requires sleep, okay? It has to. If it doesn't get enough sleep, it actually shuts the body down and creates illness and everything, so we rest. So understanding that that's a thing, right? That you can see how creation happens through being restful, being in this sleepy space, but you also have to have your needs met, which are food, shelter, oxygen, gotta be breathing, yep, and then you've got to deal with your emotional status on things, right? If you're emotional wreck, you're not resting and relaxing, you are pacing through stuff. So
when you also need love,
yes.
and it's that attention, to the creation, to that seed. And we plant seeds during the new moon for that reason. It needs that rest. It needs that gestation period.
Yeah, that's a perfect word. It's the gestation. It is.
The formation of it, So that is the possibility. It is the dream time. So we always, when you're working with that new moon energy, you can think of something that it is that you want to implement in your life and utilize that new moon. Now, that doesn't mean you're done just because you started at the new moon. The new moon is, there's 28 days in a cycle. So you have 28 days to continue building and creating and manifesting and nurturing that seed that you just planted. And the next phase would be our waxing crescent. And this is after that seed's been sown. Now, there's action that needs to be put into place. There's, you start to identify if there's any resistance or procrastination. I don't know if I want to commit to this.
Yes.
This is a lot of care, a lot of mental focus, where I have to be thinking about this, a lot, because it does require action.
Because now you burst through the soil. This little plant is like looking around going, oh my God, how am I going to survive this? This little bitty idea that she had or he had. Mm-hmm. And they planted me, and now I'm out here looking around. Woo! Woo, this is rough. So now you have to decide, okay, well, you could keep growing. You can. It's young. It's a new beginning. It's a new start. So you don't have to know everything. You don't have to know how it's all going to happen. You just know that you keep pushing forward now. So that first burst through, you're like, okay.
Well, ideas are going to come in, like, ooh, something's going to be illuminated because the light is starting to grow now, right? And then we come to our first quarter, which is where any hurdles coming up will come into your life, the obstacles for you to maneuver through. New ideas can come in, any procrastination. You start to identify if there's any more resistance, and what do you need to implement or course correct, something that, okay, I need to change this, or this just came to my awareness, I need to, make some changes here. And then we get to the gibbous moon, where your ideas are now forming a shape. They're taking shape for you. It's a busy period. There's you need to be grounded during this time because there's a lot of building, a lot of evaluation, more identify your next steps moving forward, because what's coming next is now your full moon, right? Where your emotions are very, very high. This is one of the very charged phases of the moon, where there's the peak level of your manifestation where you can start to see it actually taking shape. So let's see, how would that apply to our plant? So now our plant might be starting to be full bloom. Mm-hmm. I would see there's flowers. There's no fruit yet, but it is now, your manifestation should be a little bit more visible.
Well, and
right?
now you're looking to see what, does it need, extra fertilizer, right? Does it need extra attention? Are there things there that you're noticing it's not quite moving in the direction you had in your mind, right? It may be stalling a little bit. And so what do you need to do?
Well, you need to release and let go of, right? As what can I do to implement and really concrete this into, manifestation? What else do I need to do? Do I need to notice? I need to listen. This is where you reflect, you observe, because now the sun and moon are in alignment, right? They've had that sacred kiss. The sun is now illuminating the moon, and it is shining all the light in there. Any fears, any resistance that you're having to this manifestation, or any blockages that might be in the way that are preventing you from achieving your goal due to habits or past fears or behaviors, just anything that's blocking your manifestation. This is a time to sit and listen and receive.
Right. Listen to what you say and listen to what your thoughts are, right? Those are two very important times, right? During then is the beginning when you're starting, right? What are your thoughts and your words? And now at that stage where we're getting at the peak, it's like, okay, well, did I continue that same thought process? Did I continue building on that thought process?
Did I nurture this?
Yes.
This idea that I wanted to put in place.
We're drinking today. It is warm. It is a warm
Sorry,
November.
that was my cup. What do we need to let go of to clear and pave a way moving forward, right? And so it's a very receptive phase, but the two, it's very dense in energy, so it's a really good time to work with it because it is the peak, just like the new moon. Those are peak times of working with the moon cycles. And then after we've had that full illumination, then we start working with the waning gibbous moon. And this is a time for affirmations, for having that appreciation and that gratitude, that steadying energy of consistent action, making sure like, yes, I'm renewed on my path. I'm committed to doing this, committed to growing this plan and receiving.
And you might start to see some little, payback. Some things may be starting to happen. You may be starting to have some buds there, that you can see that, it is starting to happen. It is moving forward. It's
right.
just
There's some fruit, a baby fruit growing, you can start to receive some positive feedback. Exactly.
Yes.
From that creation. You're seeing where the actions that you're putting in are being fruitful.
Yeah, like say you were trying to manifest a new job, right? And every time you kept looking, the jobs that you were going after, they'd already been filled over and over and over. So you plant your seed, right? And the next thing you know, you start noticing that there's a few more ads that are out there than were there before, okay? And then as you keep going through the process, not only are there more ads out there, but now there's more availability. So when you put your resume in and everything, it's not an automatic, this has been filled, thank you, we'll keep it on file. It starts to be, well, maybe you start having interviews now. Maybe it starts with just one interview, right? By the time you get to the full moon. Mm-hmm. But by the time you're now moving past that, maybe there's like 4 interviews for that same type of job. You just have to keep feeding and being thankful and keeping your mindset instead of saying, I'm never going to get the job I want. It's never going to work. I put that intention out there. I thought about it, but I really don't believe it. I really just don't think it's going to happen. And
that's where that constant dedication comes in, that constant nurturing. You have to keep watering the soil, fertilizing the soil,
right? Because if you get fruit, if you're growing something, all your seed packets, they'll tell you how long it's going to take, right? That's one good thing. The seed analogy is rough because it gives you a definite date. You should seed this by this time, right? You're going to plant this seed and this corn is going to be done within 180 days. You'll see it. Okay. Well, but that's 180 days. That's a long time. That wasn't 1 month. That wasn't one lunar cycle. That was a specific amount of time, depending on what you're manifesting, what you're creating, right? Are you asking for world peace? Are you asking for, an extension on your loan? What are these different things that you really are looking?
Well, that's perfect for working on the last quarter is your evaluation moon, right? Where you start to evaluate how much effort and attention did I put into this manifestation, this new beginning, this change of habit, or this thought pattern that I had, and you start to seek higher guidance, right? Or inner guidance to make adjustments, to align in the process of that manifestation. What do I need to do to course correct if I haven't seen fruit by now?
Yes.
What do I need to be doing to change in order to achieve it? And then you have the balsamic moon, which is the last of that 28-day cycle. It's the dark moon. It's the quiet time before the new moon begins, where you need to be more observant, ultra observant, with an objective viewpoint, right? Stand back and look at all your actions from this moon cycle up till now. What do I need to realign with if I haven't gotten my manifestation right now? Because manifestation is not a direct line. It's not going to happen every 28 days. Not everything is set up that way, right? Everything works in cycles. It's in a spiral. It's circular.
Yep.
So some manifestations require constant dedication. You ain't gonna, I'm going to be a millionaire.
And sometimes it works out like that because you've been manifesting that for a long time, right?
If you have aligned yourself to that frequency to match that timeline, right. Sure, you can jump timelines like that. But if you've got all this trauma and you're like, ooh, I'm going to just jump straight to here. Sorry, you cannot, because you have so much density, so many lower frequencies and energies and thought patterns that are blocking you from achieving those goals. It's going to take you time to weed them out. It's that part of the entanglement. You're entangled in all these messes here. There's all these stories that are playing out where you've got some, self-doubt. You don't have self-esteem. You are attracting narcissists constantly, daily. You can't seem to get your life on the right track. You're constantly losing your job, or things are constantly going bad in your life. Everything is just constantly putting you through the ringer. All right, you can't just be like, I'm going to start this new moon and I'm going to manifest winning the lottery.
Yes, because I can do it. I know all I have to do is plant that seed and I'm good to go.
And keeps telling myself, I'm going to get it. I'm going to win it. Okay.
That's part.
Yes,
that's a good
that
part.
is.
That's good practice. It's a good practice. However,
because that's working on training yourself, to have positive attitude and mindset and faith and spirit.
Not every seed
providing
grows.
for you.
You could pop out things that are just like dud seeds, right? This one, I didn't really have the right vibration when I set that intention, and so it couldn't grow. It couldn't grow because I really was muddied in my thoughts, muddied in my belief system of it.
Choosing to work with the moon, if that is your intention, right? Then your spirit's going to bring up everything preventing you from attaining that goal.
One of the things that we used to say all the time: money is the root of all evil. No, it isn't. It's how you use it. It is a tool. That is all that it is a tool. It is a tool to barter and get us what we need and want in this world. Because in this world, we have decided that paper and metal are the
currency of exchange.
That's right. That's how you can get some power. That's how you can get food on the table. That's how people end up valuing themselves. And so, since that's the cultures that we have aligned ourselves with in the Western side and stuff like this, we have to now adjust and recognize that that's what we're working with, that's what we're working towards. But we've all been programmed with a certain type of belief system regarding money and finances, depending on what type of family you were born in, what their financial status was, and what the belief system is of your family culture, what your things were. And so we're not saying that you can't, put that as an intention. No.
It is, if you have things that are blocking that manifestation, they're going to come up in the awareness during those phases of the moon where you have that reflective time. They will come up to show you this is preventing that manifestation. And then that is going to direct you to setting a new intention with the next new moon of working on that, that idea, that blockage, that pattern, that belief that you have that is preventing that manifestation. And that's where you're going to be doing more work, more reflective work, and healing yourself and that aspect of yourself that's going to ultimately get you that manifestation. But that one particular manifestation is going to require that constant faith. And you're going to be that soil right there, that seed there, it's going to need nothing but faith being applied to it. And when you're going through these healings and that past journey of forgiving the trauma and the pain and everything, sometimes that one initial seed of winning the lottery, you might start to feed it with some doubt, because this is some work that is having to be applied in another area of your life that is having you focus on where that initial belief that you weren't deserving of that money came from. And so if you're not strong enough to face it and find the root cause of that misbelief, that trauma, and be able to transmute that energy, it will stay and linger in your energetic body, in your mind, in your heart, and in your belief system. That's still going to prevent you from achieving that first initial goal of manifesting that financial stability. It's still going to be in there, and ultimately you won't be able to achieve that goal.
Right.
Because doing that shadow work, working with that program is where your focus needs to be, actually.
Yes.
And then once you start working and weeding out all those programs of believing that you're not worthy of having that financial stability, once you achieve weeding those out and you've weeded that garden, so now that soil can grow to fruition because there's nothing preventing it from growing.
Right. And you're actually fertilizing it with a truth, which is, I deserve,
I believe, I have
and I'm
faith,
worthy of it. And
exactly.
That's right. And so, and then it does work to conspire, but you have to recognize when little bits of that flow come in, right? And you praise it and you're thankful for it. That, oh my gosh, look at this. I just walked out and found $20 on the ground. Oh, woo! And you're so thankful for that. But that is it's kind of like winning the lottery. People talk about that all the time. What is winning the lottery for them? It is a feeling, right? That's what people want, that feeling of freedom, and that there's every possibility out there now because there's nothing financially limiting me.
Right.
So it creates a freedom. So when you start thinking about that, feel that financial freedom. What does that feel like? What would it feel like? And now just kind of walk around in that feeling of like, oh, this, I'm buying this, I'm getting this, I'm sharing this, I will do this. These things are all those walking in the feeling of the receiving. And that is really that fruition, coming to that end of that phase that you've finally worked it out. You've received it.
So if you find your manifestations are unsuccessful, there's always another opportunity, another phase of manifestation to engage in. There's always a new moon coming around, and analyze, observe, get some insight on where you need to apply, a new energy, a new focus, what actions need to be taken. And so speaking of that, we're going to talk about how, if you're going to start working with the new moons, how you can start to manifest. And just a side note, manifestation's an ongoing process, right? We're always in a process of co-creative energy with our thoughts, with our actions, our words, the things that we create with our hands on the daily. And so working with the lunar energies helps us to manifest in more conscious ways. And so the next new moon, we'd like to suggest anybody who's wanting to work with the new moons or to manifest and begin on your journey, to work with the aspect of the masculine and the feminine. I'm not sure how often this is spoken about in our culture. When you're working with the moon, it's not just working with the moon. You have to work with that masculine aspect too, because we live in a dualistic planet. Everything is seen in a dualistic nature. We have black and white. We have male and female. We have...
well, they say good and evil, even though it's really not. It's just depending on your perspective.
Yes, it's lower vibrations and higher vibrations. There's that dualistic nature. And so in order to create, you have to work with both aspects of nature. And part of that is working with the moon and the sun. And even though we're doing the moon work because we are feminine, women who really resonate with that working with the moon cycle, I'm going to say. So how to begin with to start on your new moon and to set out to create something, some change, a pattern or something you want to initiate in your life, and write down 10 things that you wish to manifest. This is something, or it could be 1 to 10.
Yeah.
Because if you're just starting, maybe just set your one goal for now. Those who are a little more advanced, y'all, you know what you're doing. So if this is your first time, just pick something that you would like, some kind of change in your life, something you'd like to wish to manifest, and begin there. And what you want to do is write that down. What would I like to create in my life right now? What do I need? What are my needs?
So you wanted more time for rest and relaxation or play. I need more recreational time. Let's say it was that, Brandy. So what would they do if they wanted to create a place of more recreational time? Say they work at a job where they work 80 hours a week. They're exhausted. They come home, they pass out, but there's still work to do around the house. And so now they want to create some time. So how would they write that down?
So they could write, I wish to manifest more me time, more self-care, because that's really what that is I need more downtime, more rest. So that would be your manifestation. I wish to create more downtime, more rest time, more self-care, to implement more of that in my life. And that's your manifestation. So on the other scale, now working with the masculine energy, is the goal is to set now an intent, right? What is the action that I'm going to apply that's going to help me get this manifestation? And so that would be that's how you work with the divine masculine energy. It's something energy that's going to help you produce your goal or your dreams. So one way you could do that by working with the divine masculine is, so my intention will be I'm going to take more time for myself. I'm going to take a day off each week. That is just for me to do what I want to bring me more peace, more, you know, more self-love, anything that you want to do where you don't have any obligations to anybody else outside of yourself. This is just for me. And the universe is going to provide everything for me to help me achieve my goal without, having too much
It's
backlash,
yes,
or, because
exactly.
everybody gets in fear. Well, if I don't do this and this is going to happen. And then that's, your ego starts taking you down this trip of, oh no, you can't do that.
Yeah.
You're not going to have money for this, and you're not going to have this and this and this and this. And that's not true. Because if you have your faith and your belief that I'm worthy of this downtime because I work so hard and I give so much, then the universe is going to make it happen for me because I'm deserving of it. And when you have that as your mindset, guarantee you're going to have it. You're going to have that day off. You're going to have that worry, that fear of things not getting done if you don't, if you're not there to do it.
Right. That's it. That's exactly right. And you can't limit the work, limit the manifestation, because it can come in these wild ways that you're never even thinking of. Like suddenly you get a raise at work. That comes up just in the course of that, with you having been working hard on this is what I want to make sure that I have time. And so what'll end up happening is that you'll get a raise, and then the company decides that, you have so much overtime and so much stuff. Maybe they give you a new position in the company, and you actually don't have to be there 80 hours a week and everything to make that money now. So you can now step back, take a rest, do things that you enjoy versus...
Yeah, not having to work yourself to death and not experiencing any joy in this beautiful world that's around us, right?
Yes, of that hard work.
Okay, so, another one could be I want to release, all things that no longer are serving me. And so then that, that's a very vague, general, manifestation there. And so, you're going to have some things come up to the surface, and your action, your masculine aspect could be, I will acknowledge any lessons or experiences that these memories or experiences have taught me, so that you acknowledge, yes, I had to go through this to learn this. That can be an action that you apply to anything that does surface for you when you're trying to let something go and you don't know what it is that you need to let go of. Well, your soul's going to bring it up to the surface for you to look at during these moon cycles.
Yes.
And so that's your opportunity to acknowledge them, to observe them, and to make those positive healing choices to let it go. It has to come from within, and it has to come from you acknowledging that you're still here in this time frame of experiencing this pain or this hurt or this, argument that you had. You're still living it out and acting it out. So let's go ahead and choose to, I'm going to apply my wisdom to healing this.
Yes. My goodness. Just an epiphany.
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah. Huge. I'm sitting there like going, oh, my God, I'm going to die. I'm going to die right here. Right now, you're talking straight to me, Brandy. Straight to me. Oh, yeah. You give me that conversation we had yesterday morning. Oh. That's why that's all in my face. I haven't forgiven something that I need to forgive.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I know. But you don't know what it is.
No.
That's the thing. It's like sometimes you can have, triggers. Somebody just trigger you. And it could be like, a friend, a family member or whatever like that. And all the, like, every time they do this, like, I get so angry. And it could be just like the smallest, simplest thing.
Yeah.
It's just irritating. But over time, it has built up and packed on and layered in there, right?
Yeah.
And so now, it's no longer this thing that you can overlook, and just brush off because you've done it so much and you haven't addressed the way that it's actually feeling because your feelings are telling you something. And because we choose, I don't have time to engage in this or, it's petty or whatever, we choose not to listen to that, right? And so, our feelings start to get a little bit enraged because how many times are you going to do this to me? And so when you finally will stop and listen, or even if you don't listen, so let's say you don't listen, it's going to be a pop off. Okay. It's going to be this like, ooh, I can't keep the lid on anymore. It's layered so much in there and packed in there so much, like it needs release in some way. And so there could be this expression, this explosion, but it's not really the root.
No.
You know what I mean? It's just what the top layers have been expelled, but there's still packed, emotions and experiences that are still in there, and so it's going through those layers and filtering it out and getting down to the deep core of what it is, Oh, okay, I know what it is. I need to let this part go, and sometimes like you don't always have that person there, they could not be living, they could have already passed on, or they could not be in a space to be able to give you that healing. And so it's something you have to do on your own. This is the inner work, the shadow work. And you can write it down. This is one of the best therapeutic ways, is to write it down, or to have somebody that you trust being in your safe space, and you can let them be that comforting observer, the witness, to watch you go in there and pull it all out, to observe it now, look at all the puzzles, pieces,
put all the pieces together in the
exactly. Put them in the order that they need to be in, and then sift through them and work through them, right? And then let them help you give yourself, where you can have that observant overseer perspective from a different vantage point now. And then,
I've been asking for family harmony within my family. That's what I've been asking for.
I'm gonna
That's
whoop
what
this
I was
lady. I'm gonna
manifesting.
whoop her. Like, you need to be telling me what you're doing. Because I gotta come in there and be like, what's going on?
She does. Bless her heart. So, oh my goodness, I would just
Your
sit there
words
and I was like,
mean so
yes,
much.
oh
They
my
do,
God.
y'all. And you have to be careful with the word. I mean, it really is. What words are you using?
Oh God.
That's going to be a tool for you guys too. Really, you need to know.
Yes, what's going to happen? Like we tell people all the
Words.
time, be very careful about asking for patience, right? Just give me some patience. You'll be tested. You'll be tested so many times.
Oh, you want to learn
You want to learn it.
patience.
This is what it looks like. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. You're going to be standing in this line, and you're going to have all these people cut in front of you, or they're just going to stop right in front of you.
That's right. You're in traffic
You're
now.
going to have a
and you
screaming
are-
baby.
That's right. Do not ask for patience. Just assign
no.
yourself and say, I am patient.
I am patient. I don't need to learn.
No, I don't need to learn it. I understand. I am patient. I'm patient. I can wait. I'm all right with that. That's right.
I have faith.
And so then you don't need to be tested, and it doesn't need to be this driving thing in your face, because you get it. You understand it. You just now have created yourself as a patient person. But understanding that, you can work and achieve things. You don't have to sit back and just go, oh, I'm just going to be patient and wait it out. We're not saying that. We are saying that just don't ask for it. Don't ask to be tested in it, because it is very difficult. We learned that lesson a few times. It took 2 or 3 of us doing it before we all realized, oh my God. Then you get tested until you've reached that level of going, I can be patient. I can wait on that. I can understand that is not a driving need in my life right now. I'll be patient and just get on with it, right? And then once that happens, you're usually good. But for those of us who have learned that lesson, just create patience within yourself. I am patient. Yeah. And a harmonious family is it's more about you. It really is more about you and your thought processes. So I just got that. I just got that lesson really, really clear because of a conversation I had with Brandy yesterday morning. I'm just going through something it just keeps coming up and just irritating the living crap out of me. I'm not in my, trying to be in my spiritual space and try to be in that highest vibration. But this one particular person just keeps triggering me to death, to the point where I'm like, I don't want to do that. So I've just been avoiding instead and being silent.
Because you don't want to say something you'll regret because it's such a loaded energy, right?
Yes, and this person is completely unaware
very unaware.
Yes.
you
And
know.
so I don't want to like attack them or anything like this. However, it is creating something in me which is not healthy either. So I need to really
sit with the emotion.
Yes.
And try to understand it. Give it that higher perception, that viewpoint of understanding. I hear you. I'm going to listen to you. Or I'm going to sit here and I'm going to be with you for a minute, and I'm going to listen to what you have to tell me, because you're showing me, you're telling me something, and I've been ignoring how it makes me feel because I'm afraid of that feeling. And that's all it is. It's a feeling that's telling you something. It's giving you a wisdom about this experience to either show you something that you do know you no longer want, you no longer want to hold on to, or that it isn't your fault.
Yeah, it really is that.
And sometimes when we know better, we do better.
That's right.
And we are all given certain programs, social programs, genetic programs, and everything that we're all having to work through and filter out and clear out. And some of us are not as strong as others.
No.
We're just not. And we need guides. That's why we're here. And if we aren't actively seeking them out, that's the thing. We can't heal everybody. It's not our job to do the work for everybody. It's not our job to point it all out to everybody either.
That's right.
Because that triggers them. And, I don't want to have this conversation. I don't want to do my work. You're forcing me to do work I'm not ready for.
Yeah.
And, we become bad guys when we do that.
Yeah.
Even though our intention is always to help and always to bring them back to their heart and remember who they are and why we're here. Everybody's not ready to wake up yet.
Nope.
And it's hard because I can only imagine what it was like being way back in the day, being in this world and it being the way it was back then.
Yes.
And going, I'm awake too soon.
That's right.
Oh my goodness. I came down way too soon, but they are paving paths for the future,
That's
and
right.
it's sad because, sometimes we won't see the manifestations of our hard work
Right.
until, we're reincarnated, and then again we lose ourselves and have to remember who we are.
God.
Like, okay, I'm picking back up where I left off,
That's right.
and hopefully each time we just get it right and we get it better and better. And, one day we will be those ascended masters walking around here going, look at everything we've done.
That's right.
We did it. This place is beautiful. We're all in harmony. We can just think and manifest just like that. And there's this bliss and peace, and everybody can come to Earth now, and she's this beautiful being, that everybody can enjoy without something on the planet trying to destroy it and harvest all of her goodies and take her for granted. We're all learning that self-love, and she is too,
That's exactly right.
So I think we're going to go ahead and end it here, Mom, and we will be back again with some more fun topics of discussion and ways that you can learn to work with the energies that are around us every single day, how to constantly implement change and healing and growth, because that's our intention here on this earth, right?
That's
is to
right.
grow, learn, to ascend and evolve and just gather more information and help heal the generations of the past so that we're no longer experiencing all these horrible manifestations and feelings and pains of being
and doing
human.
the course corrects from the past, yes. Mm-hmm. So we are your divine oracles, Brandy and Candy, and we look forward to talking to you again, wishing you love, peace, and light on your path until we next talk again.
Y'all have a great day. Take care.